He offered them $1 million in cold, hard cash to abandon the only home they'd ever known. But what the poor family said next made this billionaire question everything he believed about money and power. Marcus Wellington III stood 6 feet tall in his $1,000 Italian leather shoes, surveying the neighborhood through the tinted windows of his Bentley. At 42, he was everything money could buy: sharp suits, perfectly styled silver hair, and a net worth that could purchase small countries. He was a real estate mogul who built empires by tearing down what others called home. 3 blocks away, in a small 2-bedroom house with peeling paint and a front porch held up by determination and prayer, lived the Martinez family. Rosa Martinez, 38, worked double shifts at the local diner, while her husband Carlos, 41, put in 12-hour days at the construction site. Their 3 children, Sofia, 16, Diego, 12, and little Ana, 8, had never known any other home than this modest house on Maple Street. The house wasn't much to look at. The roof leaked when it rained hard. The heating system coughed and wheezed through winter, and the kitchen linoleum had seen better decades. But every corner held memories. Sofia's height marks on the doorframe, Diego's soccer ball dents in the hallway wall, and his crayon masterpieces still taped to the refrigerator. Carlos had inherited the house from his grandmother, who'd bought it with savings earned from cleaning office buildings downtown for 30 years. Marcus saw something entirely different when he looked at Maple Street. He saw prime real estate in a gentrifying neighborhood, perfect for his latest project, a luxury shopping complex that would bring him another $50 million in profit. There was just one problem. The Martinez house sat right in the middle of his planned development site. Marcus had already purchased every other property on the block, some through fair market deals, others through less savory tactics involving sudden property tax increases and mysterious code violations. But the Martinez family had refused every offer, every threat, every pressure tactic his team had deployed. They're being unreasonable, Marcus told his assistant as they parked outside the modest home. Everyone has a price. I just haven't found theirs yet. That's when Marcus made a decision that would change everything. He would make an offer so outrageous, so impossibly generous, that no rational person could refuse. $1 million, more money than the Martinez family would see in 10 lifetimes, for a house worth maybe $80,000 on a good day. Sir, that's significantly above market value, his assistant warned. Marcus adjusted his gold cufflinks with a cold smile. Sometimes you have to shock people into seeing sense. They'll take the money, buy something better, and everyone wins. Trust me, poor people always take the money. Marcus approached the Martinez family like a predator stalking prey, but his weapon was kindness wrapped in condescension. He showed up at their door on a Tuesday evening, immaculate in his navy suit, carrying a briefcase and wearing his most practiced smile. "Good evening, Mrs. Martinez," he said when Rosa answered the door, wiping flour-covered hands on her apron. "I'm Marcus Wellington from Wellington Development. I believe we've spoken on the phone." Rosa's expression tightened, but her mother had raised her to be polite. "Mr. Wellington, what can I do for you?" "I'd like to make you and your family an offer that will change your lives forever," Marcus said, his voice dripping with false warmth. "May I come in?" Against her better judgment, Rosa led him into their living room, where Carlos was helping Diego with homework while Ana colored at the coffee table. The contrast was stark. Marcus's $1,000 shoes on their worn carpet, his manicured hands gesturing at their humble surroundings. "I know this neighborhood is changing," Marcus began, his tone gentle but calculating. "Property values are rising. Taxes are going up. It must be difficult to keep up with the payments on a construction worker's salary." Carlos stiffened, but Marcus continued before he could respond. "I'm prepared to offer you something extraordinary," Marcus said, opening his briefcase with theatrical precision. $1 million. Cash. For this house. You could buy something beautiful in the suburbs. Send your children to private schools. Never worry about money again. The room fell silent, except for the tick of the old grandfather clock in the corner. Sofia looked up from her textbook. Diego stopped writing, and even little Ana paused her coloring. "Think about it," Marcus pressed, his voice like honey over broken glass. "Your daughter could go to any college she wants. Your sons could have opportunities you never dreamed of. All you have to do is sign these papers and walk away from this. But Marcus had made a critical miscalculation. He'd spent so much time seeing dollar signs that he'd forgotten to see people. Rosa Martinez looked around her living room, at the family photos covering every surface, at her children's artwork, at the worn spots on the furniture that marked years of family dinners and movie nights and homework sessions. She thought about her late grandmother-in-law, who'd scrubbed floors for decades to buy this house, who'd whispered to Carlos on her deathbed, "Promise me you'll never let them take our home." Carlos stood up slowly, his calloused hands clenched at his sides. When he spoke, his voice was quiet but filled with a strength that made Marcus suddenly uncomfortable. "Mr. Wellington," Carlos said, "I think you misunderstand what makes a home valuable." "I understand perfectly," Marcus replied, his practiced smile wavering slightly. "That's why I'm offering you 10 times what this place is worth." "No," Rosa said, standing beside her husband. "You don't understand it all." Sophia closed her textbook and looked directly at Marcus. "This is where my abuelo taught me to read," she said. "Right here on this couch. In Spanish and English." Diego pointed to a corner of the room. "That's where we set up our Christmas tree every year. Dad always lifts me up to put the star on top." Little Anna held up her crayon drawing. "This is our house," she said proudly. "See the big tree in the yard? Mama planted it when I was born." Marcus felt something shift in the room, a weight he couldn't quite identify. For the first time in decades, his certainty wavered. Rosa Martinez walked to the mantelpiece and picked up a framed photo, a black and white image of an elderly woman standing proudly in front of the same house, its paint fresh and new. "This is Carlos's grandmother, Maria," Rosa said, her voice steady and strong. "She came to this country with nothing but hope and determination. She worked 3 jobs, saved every penny, and bought this house in 1987. It was her American dream." She set the photo down gently and turned to face Marcus. "You see a piece of property," Rosa continued. "We see Maria's legacy. You see an obstacle to your shopping mall. We see the place where our children are learning what it means to have roots, to belong somewhere, to be part of something bigger than money." Carlos stepped forward, his voice gaining strength with every word. "You think we're poor, Mr. Wellington, but we're rich in ways you couldn't buy with all your millions. We're rich in love, in family, in community. We're rich in knowing who we are and where we come from." "This house isn't perfect," Rosa added, gesturing at the peeling wallpaper and worn floors. "But it's ours. Every scratch on these walls tells a story. Every creaky floorboard sings our family song." Marcus opened his mouth to argue, to appeal to logic, to increase his offer. But Sophia Martinez stood up, all 16 years of her looking him straight in the eye with a dignity that made him feel small. "Mr. Wellington," she said, "my parents work harder than you'll ever know to keep this home. They sacrifice so we can have stability, so we can walk to the same school every day, so we can grow up knowing we belong somewhere. You're not offering us $1 million. You're asking us to sell our souls." Marcus Wellington III left the Martinez house that night, with his briefcase full of unsigned papers and his mind full of questions he'd never asked himself before. For the first time in his career, he'd encountered something that couldn't be bought. Over the following weeks, Marcus found himself driving past Maple Street more often than necessary. He watched Carlos leave for work each morning, saw Rosa tend a small front garden, observed the children playing in the yard with a contentment he'd never experienced in his mansion overlooking the city. 3 months later, Marcus made headlines in the local newspaper, but not for the reasons anyone expected. Wellington Development announced it was relocating its luxury shopping complex to a different site, an abandoned industrial lot across town that would bring jobs to an unemployed community. "Sometimes," Marcus told a reporter who asked about his change of heart, "you realize that some things are worth more than money. The Martinez family taught me that home isn't a building you can tear down and rebuild. It's a feeling you can't purchase at any price." The Martinez house still stands on Maple Street. It's painted a little fresher now, its roof repaired, its garden blooming. Marcus had anonymously donated enough money to the city to improve the entire neighborhood. New sidewalks, streetlights, a playground where Ana Martinez plays every afternoon. Marcus never spoke to Martinez family again, but he never forgot the lesson they taught him. He learned that true wealth isn't measured in bank accounts, but in the courage to stand up for what matters most, even when the whole world is trying to buy it from you. Home isn't where you can afford to live. It's where you choose to build your life. And some things, the most precious things, will never be for sale. The Martinez family proved that the most powerful word in any language isn't yes when someone offers you everything. Sometimes it's no when you know what everything really means. If you like that story and want more, please subscribe for daily emotional stories. Thank you, and until next time.